Today I'm wearing the Parking Master, a really neat and fun watch from the company Vanbanner, who operates out of Vancouver, Canada. They are a microband who have been operational since 2020. A viewer of mine was kind enough to lend me this watch for review, so big thanks. Without him, this video just wouldn't have been possible. And thanks to everyone else for hitting the subscription button because it really helps the channel. There are a lot of watches out there with the name Master in it. Seamaster, Yacht Master, but let's be honest, a lot of these things most of us normal people don't really have a need for. Most of us don't dive, or at least not on a regular basis, and most of us don't own yachts. But I'd say a good 90% of us has parked a car at a parking meter, it's expired, and we've gotten a ticket, at least once in our lifetime. Hence, the Parking Master. Looking at this watch at first glance, there's a lot of things that catch your eye. It's extremely colorful and it's well executed. It's a fun to wear watch. But one thing you might notice right away is the bezel. Most dive watches have bezels that start at 0 and run to 60 minutes. This watch starts at 60 minutes and then counts down to 0. So it's essentially backwards. It's something that's probably easier to use in most real-life applications. I hear people using a timing bezel for different things like cooking food or maybe picking up your kids from soccer practice. And I think it's great for those applications. The idea is that you're going to park your car, let's say for 30 minutes, set the bezel, bam. You have an easy to read countdown to when you have to put in a couple more coins. We're even getting a bright orange and red markers for the last 10 minutes, so you can really see when you're going to have to hustle back. It's quirky, it's fun, and it looks great with this white dial version of this watch. This dial is kind of matte shaded, but it's textured, so it's much more dynamic than one would expect. In fact, the texturing is done very nicely. Ooh. I hope it's something that translates well to camera. This watch comes in a few different colors, and the owner of this watch actually owns a yellow Parking Master as well, but man, I don't think it can beat this white. The indices are applied and they are on the larger side, so they're very easy to read. They are all uniformly the same size, besides the 12 o'clock marker. The hands are nice and thick. This is not a ghost date position on this watch. This watch is a true no date movement. It's running a Miyota 9039, which is equipped with hacking seconds, 24 joules, and 42 hours of power reserve. Since we're talking about the specs of this watch, it's coming in at a comfortable 40 millimeters, has an 80 millimeter lug to lug and 20 millimeter lug width with 200 meters of water resistance. With 200 meters, this is not just a fun and gimmicky watch. This is a legit dive watch and a legit tool watch. This watch is 14 millimeters thick, but it definitely feels thinner on wrist. And that's because 2 of those millimeters are actually this gorgeous domed crystal. I have had my hands on 2 or 3 domed crystals this past month, and this is probably the best execution of one I have seen. It has the perfect mixture of extreme legibility, but also distortion when you want it and from certain angles. Overall, I'm extremely impressed with this watch, especially considering its price point of just $340 US. It's just an extremely fun to wear watch and probably has to be considered pound for pound, or let's say buck for metal, one of the best watches you can get for the price. I know that's not the most technical way of saying it, but it's just plain fun to wear. What brings the case and the bezel all together is the sharply angled integrated bracelet. Something you don't really see on a lot of bezel dive watches, but it works well here. The angles really catch the light nicely, and this whole thing is brushed as the tool watch should be, so dings and scratches aren't going to be as apparent. The bracelet has plenty of micro adjustability, although you're going to need a tool to do so. At this price point, that's absolutely acceptable. What you don't expect though at that price point is for there to be quick release spring bars, something that's always appreciated. You might want to change out this bracelet because this watch also comes with a black PVD mesh bracelet and a bright neon orange NATO strap, which can vastly change the appearance of this watch. But when I had this watch on, I kept it on the bracelet. At this price point, it's actually kind of crazy that they would go ahead and include that because you'd be hard pressed to find that elsewhere. One of the best areas about this watch I didn't highlight yet is the Lume. All of the indices are coated with Swiss Superluminova, but the hands and the 12 o'clock marker are green, while the rest are blue. The bezel is also fully lumed, but not just the numbers. The orange and red stripes are lumed too. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. I don't think I've seen orange and red lume done before, but wow, it's really cool and it's definitely a unique look. The red on the crown is actually lumed as well. So Vanbanner is definitely not skimping out on the lume. Secondhand is lume. It looks great, guys. The crown is located between the 3 and 4 position. That's a great spot for this model. I think it works well with the rest of the watch. A 3 o'clock crown position for this watch almost would have been too normal for this playful watch. So I'm happy they made this decision, and again, I think it looks great. On the back of this watch, we are getting an exhibition caseback, but it's stickered with some of the branding. A solid caseback would have been fine here too. Without the stickers, it would have been fine, so I think this is a fine option as well. The front of this watch is so fun to look at, I just don't think you'll be looking at the back too often. Overall, I am very impressed with this watch, especially at the price point. This past month, I have had my hands on multiple watches, ranging from like $300 to a few $1,000s, and this is by far and large the funnest to wear. At the end of the day, that is probably the number one thing that should be important when you're buying a watch. You should enjoy wearing it. All right, guys, are you ready for a little bit of bad news? It's been a pretty positive video. The bad news is this specific watch is sold out. In fact, all the Parking Masters are currently sold out. But Vanbanner has some other really cool looking models that I expect are just as good as in person. In fact, let's take a look at this. This is the Leah. It's a military-inspired tactical watch with 300 meters of water resistance. Damn, guys, this is a sharp-looking watch, and I wish I could get my hands on it. And it's only going to cost you $217 US. That's crazy. This dial color is not sold out, but 5 of the 6 Leah models are currently sold out. So if you were interested in this watch, I'd probably act fast. That's everything I got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Parking Master, what you think of Vanbanner, in general. Do you have any experience with this brand? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this watch. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. And as always, guys, please hit that subscription button. Engage in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. I'll catch you guys on the next one.